ஜன்னல் சமூகத்தின் சாளரம், மாதம் இருமுறை வெளிவரும் குடும்ப இதழ்.
First of all, I would want to say hello to everyone who's here. This is my first time. I thank the media who's here. It's for Kanika. I have seen her through the time when she started writing this book, or maybe in between. I met her. We worked on a movie together, and I've seen the transition in her. I've never been a writer. That's something which I envy people who write, because I don't know how you all get into that world of imagination. And I feel your platform is so huge. What you all create is what a lot of us sit and look up to and dream, whether it's fairy tales, whether it's a lot of things. So I've closely seen her go through a lot writing this book, and then so I keep telling her every time she has a launch, I said, you've given birth to the baby, so it can't be worse than that. So more than this, it's how people read and interpret and how they absorb it and onto themselves. Now, and I want to thank everyone here to be a part of this, friends, family, a lot of people from the industry, media, and thanks for having me here. So getting back to Ashwini now, yes, I do believe in God. When I was sitting there, when you said believe in God, there's something which, I just realized as we were talking that one thing which is very common in the whole thing is that word believe. Do you believe in God? Do you not believe in God? Do you believe in the universe? Do you believe in yourself? So I feel each one of us, is something that we share so commonly and so strongly is belief. And I feel that itself is a faith. I feel that itself is a God in itself. That whatever you believe in it, you make it your own, you live by it, that's your strength, I feel. So I guess whatever is anyone's belief, I feel it's their God. And my God, of course, I believe in the Almighty, whoever the one person, whoever is there. And of course, a lot of my traditionals, my ancestral deities. So I do believe in all of that. Get into the story. I want to share something. I'm not someone who's an avid reader. Never read fiction at all, because I don't know, maybe it's just so too big-headed, because I feel I have this vivid imagination, and unless someone can really come and break it, I don't want to read something and get into somebody else's world of imagination. And of course, Kanika is a friend, and when she came up with a name called Dance of Durga itself, and she told me a small bit when she was writing, which caught my attention, because I could immediately imagine without imagining better. I could go with it and feel so good with the moments that she was telling me, and that is why I was keen to read this book. And that is something which I want to share with you itself, because we've never spoken about the book before. I believe that each one of us, we live a life, I think this whole universe runs on duality. Each one of us has a duality, where there's too much of love, genuine love, then there's a very thin line. You can very quickly flip to hatred. Only if there's that much of love can you flip to hatred. Where there's that much of faith, you can go into not believing in faith. So Raju's character is something which I could so relate to, whether it's Raju or whether it was Durga. It was something which I could so relate to, that I feel in a very writer's point of view, like how you describe the atmosphere so well, the smell of the rain and all of that, which I feel all of us have forgotten nowadays. We don't, before the rains come, when I remember when I was a child, I could smell the mud, yes. And as I've grown up, you get busy in your life and you forget that. Similarly, as people, we tend to forget the emotions and what we go through. And that's when, again, getting back to Raju and Durga, I feel all those things each one of us have within us. We have a Raju, we have a Durga, we have faith, we have immense love, we have hatred. We can go to a point of destruction. So each and every part of this book took me through a journey where I could relate to it, and it helped me in a lot of ways, because I felt that maybe at some point of my life, whether it's love, whether it's your desires, where you want to go. It's how you take yourself, your belief system, your support system that takes you ahead, and how you can either slip to be a Raju or a Durga. Correct me if I'm wrong, somewhere her innocence never died at any point. Her faith was something which was always intact. Her faith, initially it was Lord Shani. When she was a small child, it was nature, the rain, that was her faith. And then it went on to the God, went on to Lord Shani. Then it was her love. And then her revenge. I feel it's a blessing for writers. So you all can let it out somewhere.
You live in another world.
Each one of us here has the same mission going. It's just that we keep suppressing and saying, no, this is not who you are.
You call me when you're angry, I'll kill someone in the book. So Anushka, there's a beautiful excerpt from what Kanika has written. I would like you to read it.
Yes, again, that's that's a bit that's something which it's one of my personal favorites, because love is something, I guess, like what you all spoke about, it's something which we can never do without. And when we are in it, it always makes our world upside down, whatever kind. And personally, I feel love is all about growth, because I feel each one of us as beings are here to evolve, and it's a part of a growth. The partners come together to grow together, and then it's either to grow together or fall apart. And the first time when we meet each other, and somehow we take each other for granted. After a few years, we see a lot of other new things around. We just want to, it's like getting into a candy shop. You had your share and you want to go see something else which entices you. But again, it's the same thing. Once you reach that so many years, it gets back to the same thing. And here I feel what was written is, it's the first time when you see someone, that fresh, that chemistry, that attraction between them. At the same time, each of us have the spheres within us, whether is it something which is meant to last, or is it something which is not meant to be, especially if you're someone who has a lot of faith, you believe in God and all that. If your heart's broken, then you start you sometimes start blaming your destiny, and you get a little unsure of your life. Oh, just a second. You can see how much is excited. They sat amongst the ruins next to the stream. A star-shaped desire like a zephyr lily grew between them. They stood watching side by side, and then just like that, he reached out to her, and she held his gaze. He bent down and kissed her. Hesitant at first, Raju parted her mouth, gently to allow his cinnamon and cigarette-doused tongue to enter her. Their breath mingled, their bodies merged, and on that day, overcast with magical clouds by the gushing water, their souls soldered as one, and ran through the stream to an unknown land filled with love and joy, making the water sweeter than it ever was. She made a vision with her dupatta fluttering in the wind, a hue of red and pink, her face forlorn. Like the water ran in the rivulet to unknown seas. They were supposed to stream ahead too, collecting whatever the banks offered and moving along, not pausing, not holding on, not looking back. Perhaps that was the nature of what it was with Harsh, or would ever be, a rivulet. A smile spread across her face, a broad smile. Raju ran to the fruit garden outside, and it began to rain. She soaked it in, feeling him all around her, inside her, enveloping her. Perhaps the sun had snatched the beautiful moment from the running water and was now pouring it on her. Perhaps there was a way to hold on, even if it was a streaming rivulet. And I have a question for Kanika on this. When I read this phrase, there's something which, of course, when they meet each other, the romance between them, whatever they feel for each other, which, after that they don't have a physical barrier. And then it goes on to two different things, and I want to know what was it that you wrote this because of. One was the the reference to the rivulet and the stream joining the ocean, and then all of a sudden there was a reference to the running water, and it says perhaps there was a way to hold on, and that's what made it into rain.
Very good. question, sweetie. Actually, when I was writing this, the how you explain that, you know, when it's a new love, when lovers meet for the first time, get attracted, there's this attraction, hesitancy, you're getting to know each other, and there's this thought at the back of your mind that, oh, is it going to last or not? So as they are by the stream, and while they are kissing, the environment becomes a part of that experience for her, and she feels that maybe as this rivulet is going from shore to shore, maybe this is something that will pass. Maybe it's not really meant to be. We met as strangers and we'll just go on to different shores. So the rivulet has been used as a metaphor for two lovers who are not really sure if this is something that will hold them together or bind them together for life. And there's a sense of almost a hopelessness that you cannot really ever hold a stream to one particular bank or a shore, or the river is always going to just flow. So there's that sense of loss. Hence that metaphor in the first half. In the second half, the reference is when she's so happy and she's dancing under the rain, there's hope. Why? Because she feels maybe when we exchange that kiss, that moment of love, maybe that point there was this, that's the time when that little moment was captured as a cloud from that rivulet, and now it's coming back and she's dancing in the rain. So it's somehow connected, it's coming back to her. So maybe there's a way to capture that flowing stream, and maybe there's a way to hold on to this love. So that is the context in what it was written.
I'm sure without the references to the stream and the rain, I'm sure the story still goes on. I'm sure a lot of people who read by, it would just be a stream, and it would just mean it was one of those romantic moments where it was raining. Is there was it intentional to go into depth? Is that something to do with your life?
Yeah, I guess what you're also asking is that the use of these the use of environment and the use of the weather, it's not just in terms of depicting the scenery or setting a place, a physical place. It's in this book I have used the weather, rain, leaves, the nature, the environment in a very metaphorical sense, because, you know, as a person, when I'm experiencing something and when I'm sad, there's a sense of smell attached to that. If it's going to rain and I'm sad, it will come back to me when it's going to rain. So I, as a person, interact a lot with nature and environment, and it becomes a part of my experience. So as an extension to the characters I create, they also draw heavily from the mood, the themes of the nature around them, and it is woven into the plot, is woven into the writing, because as a person I interact with nature in that manner. So it is very personal, it is emotional, and every emotion and important moment that I live and live in retrospect again will always have a color, a sense, a smell, a sight, a visual attached to it.
Yeah, but what is reading without using the metaphors? And you have used your metaphors really, really beautifully too.
We have,
get the sense of
we
it.
have some books where, you know, people love it and they don't really need it, because, you know, I'll tell you, there is this constant balancing act also. When one thing I'll share with you while writing this novel, you know, I constantly had to balance between, oh, we don't need to know about what is happening, and just tell us the plot, just tell us the story. Is she getting him? Is she not getting him? Is she going out with is the wife finding out about the affair? Just tell us and finish it off.
But we're not making a movie out here. You're writing a book, so you can take hours and days and months to finish your book. There's no timeline for that.
No, but now we have in fact the younger generation, I think they are a little restless in there. Unless you cultivate this habit of reading, I think. And you really enjoy the whole experience of it, I think there is a sense of, okay, I want to get to the story and then finish it.
Life is a journey, and about the faith that whatever is happening in our life, that someday it's going to come back in some form, and it's because of belief which we have in ourselves, and we think that with this faith we'll find a path again. So Kanika, a lot of times we lose our faith. While writing, I'm 100% sure you must have lost your faith and said that, okay, I'm done with this book, I'm not going to be writing anymore. Let's go, let me write my screenplay, at least it'll be faster. So tell us, how do you keep getting your faith
in this lengthy book, because I just spoke to you in the afternoon and you told me it took you 3 years to write this book.
2.5.
2.5 years,
Yeah, you know, not only did I not lose my faith, I lost my marbles also while I was creating these stories, because this story, like I said when I was opening the whole thing, that it's very personal. A lot of changes are happening in my personal life. I got married to a new city, new people, new family, lost my father. So very intense changes. And of course, when changes like these happen, you do tend to question everything that you've been, you've taken for granted, or you've been, following or believing or everything. So I did have that unease. I did have that period of desolation. I was going through a tough time personally too, and that did reflect. I think I stopped writing in between completely. I did not go back to the novel for almost 6 months, because I just didn't know what to write, and I was just in that zone. I was grieving, and it was just in a very negative manner. And this book, I'd say I had a lot of personal hurdles to cross to get to writing and finishing this story, more than the writer's block per se. But then, you can't really demarcate both, because you are the one who's writing it and it's coming from you. So I forgot the question you asked me actually.
You answered it.
I answered it. Wow.
Yeah.
At least I'm getting something.
I would like to call Lata Menon to read out the last beautiful lines which Kanika has written.
Yeah, I'll just give the context to this.
Yeah.
So this is when the love of her life, love of Raju's life, is about to die. He's on his deathbed, and Raju doesn't know what to do. And she's come at those crossroads where she's looking for answers, and she hopes she can find or save her lover. And the people that she's speaking to, these are her, when she was younger and she was in an ashram, in a dera. These were the people who were friends and confidants, Arjun and Kuljit, and she turned to them for advice and those final moment of making that decision, that what she really needs to do to get her love back, and what does she need to do in life.
ஜன்னல் சமூகத்தின் சாளரம் மாதம் இருமுறை வெளிவரும் குடும்ப இதழ்.